What's good? What's good? I'm back. In this video, I'm going to talk about how some recent life events impacted my way of looking at how humans interact with one another. I've always been quite interested in observing people and analyzing behavior ever since I was a little kid, kind of looking at the games they play, how do people respond, and whatnot. And sometimes I get a little bit too obsessed over this observation. And I forget that I'm also an active participant in the situation I am observing. But, anyways, here are some of my observations. The first one is promotions alter behavior. Power does not just reveal character, but also alters behavior. This is from observing people of both higher and lower rank, and I observed two extremes. The first one is a type that doubles down on ordering people around. They try to sun their coworkers. Now come over here. Let me pet you on the head. They act like if they're paying all of these other colleagues that they're working with, when in fact this person has no direct reports. Hey, you, send that over. That type of stuff. And they also exhibited higher tendency to cut people off when they're talking. But when they're interacting with people of higher status, say senior leadership, this behavior basically is just gone. Not gonna lie, I was also caught off guard a couple of times. Was a little surprised at this behavior change, and also pissed me off a little bit. But I guess I really shouldn't take it that personally. But I wonder if this is just a behavioral boost. I'm not sure if it's long term or short term, or even how long it's going to last for. Would it wear off as time progresses? Don't really know. Just that definitely observe that there is definitely a behavior boost, especially after a recent promotion. Now that's the first type, right? The more dominant type, more aggressive. There's also the other type who stays even more low key after being promoted and guilty as charged. That's myself. But this is also self reporting, so this could be biased. But I definitely tried my best to stay as low key as possible, and I became even more cordial with coworkers, just everyone regardless of rank, because who cares about that stuff. I honestly didn't even want there to be an announcement about this promotion. I definitely told no one about this, and I would rather have no one know about my promotion. Yeah, just didn't really give a shit about this newly acquired title increase, because to be honest, it's the same stuff, same corporate life, same meetings where you would have to attend, and this exact same meeting where you would sit in, and 90% of the time nothing ever gets done. The same meetings you decline because there's a waste of time, and it's the same people you have to work with together, maybe good just there or outright bad, right? So my perspective is there's nothing really to gloat over a recent promotion, because can you really attribute that to just your competence? It could also just be luck, right? And the more you do, the more you gloat over this stuff, the more you become a target. Not to mention that after being promoted, you definitely have a bigger target on your back, right? It's the same logic as if you were to attain a lot of wealth within a short amount of time, would you want to be more discreet about it, or would you tell everyone about it and announce your newly acquired wealth at every given opportunity presented? And I would probably be more discreet than ever with my surroundings and the people I interact with, right? But I've always approached life with a more low key belief, and I'm a firm believer to just not flaunt or just making that target on my back even larger. And I feel like especially during times of promotion, you are the most vulnerable to attacks coming from all sides. And This behavior can also be seen as a survival strategy following status change, right? The behavioral boost, the added aggression, and in my case, trying to not be seen, these are all survival strategies that people adopt following status changes. And this could also be because of different personality traits, different interpretations of success, well, the games you want to play, the hierarchies you want to climb, and this could be many things. And ultimately, these are just two different types of survival mechanisms. Or perhaps the more aggressive strategy is a tactic to practice interactions and games you have to play at a higher level, which definitely requires you to be dominant, to be more assertive, right? Well, we shall see. And the second thing I want to talk about is my observation of how human relationships are conditional and highly relative to the social status of those who are around you. So, Status and Culture is a book by David Marks that I really, really like. And there's a concept or a story that he wrote about in the book that I will never forget. I don't remember the details, but it's about this legendary golfer recounting how an increase in status reaped him a lot of benefits, right? The most outstanding one would be when he was a rookie starting out, just playing in the tournaments. He'd get interviewed after these tournaments. He would tell a joke, and no one in the room would laugh or even chuckle a little bit. But fast forward 10 years after he has won multiple championships, amassed more attention in the media, he would tell the exact same joke in interviews that he had to be a part of, and now the entire room is laughing. And they're just fucking dead over the same joke. Just that the difference is the status of the person is different. And that's honestly how status slaps us in the face. And I think it's very hard to ignore. I'm trying my best to not refer to this every time I step outside the door, but I find it to be kind of difficult. It's hard to unsee, man. It could also be said that we are just very, very good at adapting for survival. The only reasonable thing for us to do is, in fact, to survive. So, in order for you to do that, you adjust your level of dominance, your behavior, your word choice, your body language according to how you fare when it comes to social status within your immediate environment. I think that the body or your unconscious, the unconscious subconscious, so the mind that you're not aware of, is always sizing up other people and to gauge where you stand in the immediate status hierarchy. It could be just a couple of dudes around you, and it could be just the person you're talking to, right? And it really affects your behavior. After the body collects this information and makes an initial judgment of how you fare in terms of status, there's two options for you to take. The first one is to conform. I know my place, I'll stay in my place. Or the second one, which would be for you to challenge. You challenge as a way to gain status points, and through doing so, you will either succeed or fail. And whichever option you choose to exercise depends on what's at stake. If you fail, and the rewards you'll gain if you were to win, right? Personally, I normally choose to opt out of either option, but in hindsight, refusing to play the game or exercising either of those options is in fact a form of challenging. I'm also kind of an oddball, pretty weird. I get along with people, but I really don't care much about social rules and social niceties, which is probably not that smart, but I feel a lot more comfortable operating the way I am. This is not to say that I'm oblivious about how other people are. I'm hyper aware of what other people do. And in most cases, they play the game, they stay in their place, and they adjust according to how they fare in the immediate social group or environment. And in the corporate world, this would be your immediate team, which is the boss at the top of the hierarchy. And the prerequisite for you to rise in rank are traits that people higher up deem important, and everyone else who are just employees, they fall in line with the expectations set by those at the top. But if you compile all that together, the traits that are selected by those at the very top, senior leadership, are essentially advertised as company culture. For culture is just a nicer term of traits to have in order for you to belong in this in group or tribe, which is the company. That's a second observation. And the third observation is topics discussed in a group becomes more generic as the number of people included in the group increases. This is to accommodate the needs of everyone involved in their conversation so that no one really gets left out, to make them feel like they belong to this group. As an introvert, the shift in topic really kills me. It fucks me up hard. And most of the time, when the group expands, I kind of just stop talking as much. I go from sentences to one sentence to just questions. And that's my primary mode of interaction in a really, really big group. Perhaps introversion and extroversion has to do with this as well. Maybe introverts have lower tolerance for this type of topic, and extroverts have higher tolerance for these topics that are, more small talk topics, right? Introverts may maybe reach positive stimulation from social interactions much faster and have a lower threshold to fulfill social need, while extroverts have a prolonged need for social interactions. And for them to gain the same positive stimulation an introvert were to gain, it needs to be prolonged, a lot longer, talking a lot more. For instance, we were out eating lunch today with 7 people, and we literally just spoke about the weather, upcoming vacation and trips. Have any of us moved places, plans for the fucking weekend? And each topic discussed, it made me want to die. People put up with it. People put up with it everywhere you go to fit in. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's hard to bear for me, but small talk is just another way for us to signal belonging to a bigger group and to show that you are friendly and you don't pose a threat. But yeah, I guess that's enough for today. Peace.